So I'm going to give a very, very brief introduction to our theme. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, and for those of you that weren't here yesterday, will be followed by a recap, and then a flash forward of today's program. So does the future still feel like it could happen? Are you still looking forward to it, or does it scare you? Because a lot of things seem to be going wrong with the world. Will they be made right in the future? Maybe it feels like you're already in the future. Still, there's always the other option, that the future is in the past, which makes you deeply nostalgic for it. This year's Global Art Forum is called The Future Was. It takes its cue from the fact that this is our 10th anniversary, and also the 10th anniversary of Art Dubai, of course. And we didn't want to have to choose between a retrospective nostalgia, which is the annoying default condition of those of us in our middle-age crisis, nor did we want to pretend that we can predict the future, which already in 1967, the science fiction writer J.G. Ballard said, this is a futile task to do because the present seems to be throwing up an infinity of futures every single day. So what's the point in predicting the future? So we would like to ask, what does it mean then to predict the present? So this edition of the forum is programmed by the co-directors Amal Khalaf and Uzma Rizvi, along with Antonia Carver, Uns Katan, and with the invaluable support of Sultan Al-Qasimi, who was one of the co-directors last year. We're deeply grateful to Lujan and to Sally, all our volunteers, and everyone else who's making this possible. This series of images that you're seeing back here is actually a commissioned project by Watad magazine, and they collated as many of the real estate advertisements from magazines, brochures, from about 10 years ago. So of course, significantly before what happened in the world in 2008 and 2009. And so this kind of invokes the spirit of the forum, which is how do we look back in order to look forward? What were those kinds of visions of looking forward when we look back? So to now tell us about the very recent past, Amal Khalaf.
Thank you, Shumon. And so, as Shumon said, I will do a quick recap into our day yesterday, for those of you who weren't with us. We had a really amazing first day where we began with the future, looking at the futures was past, with Germano Clement, Francesco Vizzoli, and Hans-Ulrich Obrist. And they all gave us very, very different takes on the past, with a history going backwards and talking about a youth with pre-traumatic stress disorders. We then launched the first of our postcards from the future, and today you'll see a few more of those. And our first one was from Joanna Hajitoma and Khalil Jourej. It was a beautiful postcard from 2025, which featured Etal Adnan reading a 1985 poem called Water. And I urge you all to see their exhibition in Sharjah, if you haven't already. That was followed by an incredible presentation by Eli Ayash, The Future Was a Market, where he blew our minds with his metaphysical take to approaching writing futures. And I'm not going to explain anymore. It was incredible, and I hope you all catch that when we publish the documentation. Next was the panel on The Future Was the Future with Hito Sterl, and she so generously gave us a preview of her installation Factory of the Sun, and went on to have a great discussion describing a future that cannot be represented or contained, and described people walking into the sunset while they're being tear-gassed. That was followed by The Future Was Tehran. And Sohrab Madavi and Tirdad Zolghader spoke about how hopelessness and fear can coexist as we all try and breathe in the city of Tehran. Then I think this tent, or maybe this island, began to levitate slightly when Adrienne Marie Brown presented The Future Was Collective, with channeling Octavia Butler, and leading us in a somatic experience where we started to feel what the future could be if we trusted in each other and worked together. We ended the day with "The future was," and Christine Sung Kim, by the artist Christine Sung Kim, who I hope is here. She was incredible and gave us a real visualization and spatialization of many, many ideas of the future. So looking forward for today, I'm going to pass you over to Uzma.
Thank you, Amal. Welcome, everyone, to our fourth and second day of GAF here in Dubai. After yesterday, it seems the post-human future has made us even more human. Is that right? Perhaps I should check my Twitter feed to figure out what we did, because in fact, I was tweeting madly, as all of you should be. But doesn't everyone store their memory online? Isn't that precisely how we do it? Is nostalgia in the cloud? What is the impact of the cloud today? Is, if you will, the future a cloud? Today, Joao Rabas will be in conversation with GAF Commissioner Shumon Basar, and they will no doubt show us some silver lining. But what if there's no need for a silver lining? What if we could find ourselves while moving cinematically through desert landscapes of dystopic hope? In The Future Was Desert, Sophie Elmaria and Lauren Bucas will traverse time from the deep past to forgotten futures. Can the new futures be about creating new landscapes of language and realizing new forms of contemporary science fiction in Arabic? With Emirati writers Noura Al-Noman and Mohammed Al-Hamdi, we will investigate these contemporary questions related to science fiction in the UAE. They will both be reading excerpts from their award-winning science fiction novels and will join us in conversation for This Future Was Sci-Fi. But nothing really is as it seems, ever. And to bring that home, we will end the day with a meditation on perception, a conversation between MoMA director Glenn Lowry and graffiti artist El Said. As with yesterday, sprinkled throughout the day, we have a series of personal, polemical, impressionistic postcards which will move us through time. Yasmina Regard will capture the echo of millennia. We may consider how to institutionalize museums of the future with Noah Rafford. But for now, we shall start today with a postcard from Michal El-Gargawi, who will lead us through an existential moment from 2040, read to the soundtrack from Niels Fram.